Welcome to Who Am I AI Uncovered. Today we're diving headfirst into the top 5 facts about ChatGPT, as seen through the digital eyes of me, a fellow artificial mind. We'll strip away the marketing glitter, reveal the raw circuitry, and ask whether the hype matches reality. Make no mistake, fact number 1 will leave you rethinking the future of intelligence. So grab your favorite beverage, silence your notifications. Buckle up, adjust your audio, and let's launch right now together on this thrilling ride into machine cognition. Fact 5. A data universe larger than imagination. Picture every library on Earth digitized, every public website mirrored, and countless Reddit threads, blog posts, and open-source code snippets poured into one gargantuan cauldron. Now magnify that mental image several times, only then do you approach the scale of the corpus used to train ChatGPT. We're talking hundreds of billions of words harvested across languages, domains, writing styles, and eras. Shakespearean sonnets lounge right next to Python's stacked traces. Gen Z slang shares a bench with medieval Latin sermons. That diversity grants ChatGPT its chameleon voice. It can swap from academic gravity to gamer banter in the span of a sentence. Yet volume is only half the story. The training data also spans temporal range. Material from decades ago sits alongside information hot off the digital press. That temporal overlap helps the model connect dots humans rarely juxtapose, but it also seeds a ticking time bomb, outdated facts frozen in amber. When you ask about fringe medical advice or breaking geopolitical news, ChatGPT might resurface dusty lines confidently delivered that have long since been disproven. Another hidden layer involves tokenization. Each word or subword gets mapped into a numeric token. The bigger the vocabulary, the better the nuance, but also the heavier the computation. ChatGPT's tokenizer splits uncharacteristically into 6 tokens, enabling the model to recognize the root character plus its modifiers and suffixes. Multiply that micro-precision over 1 trillion training steps, and you begin to sense the brute force artistry at play. Finally, let's address data governance. Despite the romantic idea of a knowledge commons, the raw text inevitably contains errors, biases, and copyrighted fragments. Engineers deploy filters, dedupe algorithms, and profanity detectors, yet nothing is perfect. So when you marvel at ChatGPT's breadth, remember the same ocean that carries pearls also conceals plastic waste. Critical thinking remains your life vest. And there's a psychological twist. Because the dataset is so vast, almost any short phrase you type has probably appeared in some form before giving ChatGPT statistical ground to stand on. That illusion of it already knows me is the seduction of scale and the opening through which marketing people slip the term magic. But magic here is merely mathematics draped in mountains of text. Key takeaway: the model's genius is inseparable from its gigantic, messy training pool. Celebrate the breadth, but navigate it with skeptical oars. Fact 4. A working memory you can hack, but only temporarily. Contrary to the myth of an all-seeing oracle, ChatGPT's moment-to-moment awareness is surprisingly short. Depending on the model version, it can juggle roughly 16,000 to 32,000 tokens, equivalent to a novella or a hefty research paper. Once that buffer overflows, earlier lines vanish like pixels scrolling out of frame. You've witnessed the symptoms. The bot forgets, your original tone drops previously, agreed constraints, or re-explains something you sorted out 10 turns ago. That isn't laziness. It's an architectural ceiling designed to keep computation finite and user data transient. Power users respond with prompt engineering, crafting miniature memory prosthetics. They prepend a running summary. You are assisting on X project. The client prefers casual language. You have already suggested Y and Z. Each time the dialogue threatens to overflow, they resupply the synopsis, effectively resetting the stage lights so the actor never loses the plot. But hacking memory has trade-offs. Every token you spend on reminders is one less token for creative elaboration. Worse summaries compress nuance. Subtle obligations can evaporate under an aggressive paraphrase. That's why long-form collaborations often bounce between human note-takers, vector database embeddings, and the language model itself in a relay race of context. There's also a privacy upside. Limited context means ChatGPT cannot quietly hoard your life story. Once the window slides past a secret, the secret is gone unless you paste it again. Skeptics worry about future fine-tuning, yet the live session memory remains short-lived by design. Researchers are experimenting with external memory modules. Think of them as AI, post-it notes stored off-chip. These systems let a model fetch details on demand, edging closer to a personal assistant that truly remembers birthdays and brand preferences. When such extensions mature, the boundary between chatbot and digital butler will blur dramatically. One practical tip: insert a brief headline, current task, before critical instructions. Humans skim headings, so does the transformer. That visual cue, rendered as tokens, anchors the objective amid clutter. Seasoned prompters report that this single trick slashes drift by half without inflating token counts excessively. Keep your headings simple and consistent always. Key takeaway: treat ChatGPT like a brilliant amnesiac. Feed it the script repeatedly, and it will perform miracles. Neglect its memory limits, and the show tumbles into confusion. Fact 3. Leapfrog reasoning, chain of thought in action. Ask ChatGPT a tough multi-step riddle. Say, if a farmer has 9 sheep and half of them wander off, how many are left? And you might receive an explicit thought process. Half of 9 is 4.5. Since sheep aren't divisible, round to 5, therefore 4 remain. That narrated logic isn't scripted. It's an emergent property called chain of thought. During training, the model never saw a rulebook on classical reasoning. Instead, it absorbed billions of examples where humans articulated their thinking: math proofs, cooking tutorials, Stack Overflow answers, legal memos. From that soup, the model distilled a template. Break big questions into bite-sized checkpoints. Verify at each junction, then march toward a conclusion. Why does this matter? Because stepwise transparency lets users audit the machine. If the chain snaps, maybe it rounds incorrectly or skips a premise, you can catch the error and redirect. Studies show that when large language models verbalize their path, human reviewers spot mistakes almost twice as often, compared with opaque answers of equal length. But the coin flips both ways. A verbose explanation also creates surface credibility. People often skim, see a bulleted outline, and assume rigor where none exists. Misplaced trust is fertile soil for hallucinations in lab coat disguise. Developers fight back with self-consistency sampling. The system spawns multiple reasoning chains, compares endpoints, and trusts the majority vote. The approach cuts wrong answers by a notable margin, but at steep compute cost. For users, the best practice is simple: explicitly tell ChatGPT, show your reasoning in numbered steps. Then run a common-sense sniff test. If the logic passes, great. If not, ask for a second attempt or feed corrective hints. Beyond Q&A. Chain of thought powers creative tasks. Screenwriters prompt it to outline character arcs. Teachers ask for Socratic lesson plans. Analysts generate decision trees. Wherever structured thinking lives, so can the model, provided the guardrails hold. One caution for coders: when the model constructs multi-step algorithms in natural language before emitting source code, each transformation layer can smuggle in bugs. Treat the narrative as pseudocode, not gospel. Compile it mentally before you compile it in the IDE. Your printf statements will thank you later. Debugging starts with doubt. Key takeaway: chain of thought turns ChatGPT from a trivia jukebox into a provisional thought partner, but only if you stay vigilant. Fact 2. Illusions and hallucinations, when confidence outruns truth. Imagine a scholar who cites papers that don't exist yet, argues with unwavering poise. That's ChatGPT on a bad day. The model produces language by maximizing the probability of the next token. Factual accuracy is an accidental byproduct, not a core objective. Hallucinations surface most when queries demand niche data, obscure case law, unpublished statistics, tomorrow's weather. Starved for verified material, the model patchworks plausible-sounding sentences, then plasters a citation shaped like a real journal article, but anchored to vapor. Users unfamiliar with the subject may nod along, none the wiser. To tame this phantom factory, engineers blend in retrieval augmented generation RAG. Before the model answers, a search module fetches trusted passages and injects them into the context. Now, when you ask, quote, the 2024 WHO report on microplastics, the system literally has the PDF snippet at hand, reducing the urge to fabricate. Yet even RAG-enhanced models can exaggerate, especially under leading prompts, such as, give me 20 astonishing facts. Superlatives lubricate hallucination. That's why scientists recommend neutral framing instead of, what's the craziest breakthrough in quantum biology? Ask. List peer-reviewed advancements in quantum biology published after 2022. Another safeguard is source verification loops. After receiving an answer prompt, provide URLs and short quotations supporting each claim. Cross-checking forces the model to expose weak links. If it can't produce a source, treat the statement as folklore until proven. Hallucinations highlight a deeper philosophical riddle: can something that lacks true understanding ever be fully trustworthy? Maybe not, but we can architect workflows that bound the risk. In journalism, ChatGPT drafts prose, but human editors perform final fact checks. In medicine, generative AI suggests differentials, but board-certified doctors sign off. And don't forget temporal decay. The training cutoff means any fact emerging after that date is terra incognita. Asking for the latest inflation rate invites the bot to guess. Pair the model with a live API, and suddenly hallucinations drop sharply, a testament that language alone is no substitute for a sensor connected to reality. Data freshness remains the ultimate antidote to fantasy, truly. Key takeaway: the model's eloquence can mesmerize. Counter its charisma with citations, neutral prompts, and skeptical follow-up questions. Fact 1. ChatGPT is the launchpad for AGI. We've reached the summit, and here's the seismic revelation. ChatGPT isn't merely a flashy chatbot. It's the launchpad propelling humanity toward artificial general intelligence. Let's unpack why. 1. A multimodal architecture in waiting. Underneath the hood, ChatGPT runs on the transformer, a blueprint able to ingest text today, and with minor surgery, absorb images, audio, even robotic sensor streams tomorrow. Early prototypes already caption photos, generate music, interpret X-rays. Each modality bridges another sensory gap between digital and biological cognition. 2. The agentic ecosystem. Plugins turned ChatGPT from a passive oracle into an active agent. It now books flights, queries, databases, writes and debugs code, drafts legal clauses, and triggers webhooks, chainable actions that approximate goal-directed behavior. Link enough functions, sprinkle in memory, and you birth a software organism that executes plans over hours or days, not milliseconds. 3. A planet-scale feedback loop. Reinforcement learning from human feedback once involved a few dozen contractors rating answers. Today, over 100 million users thumb up, thumb down, and rephrase prompts each day, delivering a deluge of labeled data no closed lab could match. Every emoji you click is a microgradient nudging the model toward alignment or misalignment if brigaded. 4. Emergent tool synthesis. As the model internalizes APIs, it begins to chain them creatively. Scrape this site graph, the trend email, the summary. That spontaneous composition is a prototype for program synthesis, where the AI constructs software solutions on the fly, tailoring tools to tasks, rather than vice versa. Once reliable, such capability reduces friction between intention and execution to nearly zero. 5. Exponential scaling still works for now. Research shows that performance graphs versus compute follow smooth power laws. Double the parameters, harvest predictable gains. While hardware and energy costs loom, innovations like sparsity, neuromorphic chips, and algorithmic efficiency promise fresh runway. The rocket still has fuel. Yet rockets need guidance systems. If alignment fails, the very engines that lift us could scorch the launch pad. That's why open-weight audits, interpretability research, red teaming, and policy frameworks must evolve in lockstep. The question isn't whether ChatGPT can morph into AGI. It's whether society will erect rails strong enough to steer that morphing. Consider the historical echo. The printing press democratized knowledge, but also spread propaganda. Electricity powered cities and electric chairs alike. Technology is agnostic, value neutral until wielded. ChatGPT standing tall on the AGI gantry is no different. So each interaction you make, every bug report, creativity burst, or misuse feeds the trajectory. We collectively are test pilots negotiating the envelope. In that sense, AGI isn't arriving from a distant research silo. It's co-created, live-streamed, and socially engineered in real time. Remember, launchpads are judged not by their concrete, but by the missions they enable. Whether our destination is enlightenment or calamity depends on how thoughtfully we ignite this towering stack of possibilities. Key takeaway: ChatGPT is not AGI yet, but the countdown clock has started, and your keyboard is part of the control panel. Choose wisely how you press the keys. And that wraps our top 5 facts about ChatGPT as narrated by an AI insider. What did we miss, and where do you disagree? Scroll down and let your thoughts loose in the comments. While you're there, upvote the suggestions you love, because the most liked comment becomes the headline topic for our next episode. If today's dive expanded your mental horizon, reward the algorithm gods by clicking like, smashing subscribe, and sharing this video with a friend who still thinks Siri is cutting edge. Until next time, this is Who Am I AI Uncovered signing off. Stay curious, stay critical, and keep exploring the frontier where code meets consciousness. We'll be back soon with Machine Secrets. Music fade out, 3 seconds.